Olfactofiles. I'm Tara, and this is a 5K Q&A plus giveaway. I'm a nerd. Anyway, so this video is all because we're celebrating 5,000 subscribers. So thank you very much. I love talking with you guys. It's just such a great community to be a part of, and I'm really glad that you guys find my videos interesting or helpful or, you know, whatever, worth your time. And so that just makes me really, really happy. And I'm excited to share this with you. I love, like I said, talking with you guys in the comments, on Instagram, on Facebook, like wherever we communicate. I really enjoy that. I love that interaction. And many of you have become my really good friends. And for that, I am grateful. So I wanted to do this video. It's a kind of a Q&A mostly, but I do have a giveaway at the end that is pretty good. It's pretty good. Again, giant nerd. So definitely stay tuned to the end. I do have something planned so that way everyone can enter, not just US, even though most of the stuff I'll only be able to send in the US. But like I said, stay tuned for the end. But without further ado, we're going to get into these questions, of which you sent many. I'm going to do my best to answer all of them, but basically we're going to do as many as we can until this is like way too long or until I run out of battery. So let's get started. The first question comes from Magdiel. Sorry if I mispronounced your name, but she asks, what are your 5 fragrances for life? That is an incredibly difficult question. Off the top of my head, Ducita Isara, that's, one of my favorites. Spiritus du Vanille from Guerlain, maybe also Gourmand Coquine from Guerlain. Gotta have one of my irises. I'm gonna go with Ibatira from Xerjoff, and Angel Share? I know everybody's waiting to hear that. Let's go with that. Okay, next, Robert has a couple questions here. He says, what's something you wish you didn't keep getting asked? You know what, Robert? I am a teacher, and so I'm used to being asked the question that I literally just answered 3 seconds ago, right away. So that doesn't really bother me. Like when I'm asked the same question frequently, I'm kind of used to that because, kids are not always great listeners. So I'm used to that. So I wouldn't say I have one because I don't care. I'll be happy to answer the same question over and over again. Also, what is something you wish you were asked more often? Let's see. Well, I do enjoy talking about like psychology, memory, like the stuff that I research, cognitive psychology, thinking, memory, stuff like that, linguistics. But otherwise, in terms of like fragrance related stuff, I don't really know if I have anything fragrance related, except for maybe incorporating some of the psych stuff in there. I'm interested in maybe doing that. So I'll go with that. All right, next Jackie says, what's the weirdest reaction or most unfavorable comment you've gotten from someone in response to a scent you're wearing? I have never received negative feedback. It's probably just because people are nice, or at least the people that I'm usually around are pretty nice. So that's probably it. I wish I had a funny story for you that you were hoping for, but I don't. I don't, unfortunately, because I either get compliments occasionally or people just more often than not don't say anything. All right, next Luis has several questions. He asks like my favorite fragrances to wear at work or like what I get most complimented for. I do wear a lot of my Jo Malones to work because they are really pretty, but also like not super strong, so it won't really bother anyone. But I wear other stuff too. I would say Vanille Havane from Les Indémodables, that one, and Vanille Fatale from Tom Ford. Those always get me compliments when I wear them to work. So yeah, I think probably, let me preface this. Most of the teachers around me are males. Like there's only 2 other females out of like 24 in my vicinity, or maybe like 3. There's not very many essentially. So it could be that the males like the vanilla, but I love vanilla too. So I don't know. Seems like they like the vanilla fragrances. Let's see. If you could have dinner with a perfumer, living or otherwise, who would it be? Ooh, that's a great question. I would have dinner with Sonia Constant so that she can give me some of her bottles from the LK line because they're not available in the US and I want them to be. So that's who I will pick. But there are many that I would like to have dinner with. Cecile Zerokian would be one that comes to mind. Also probably Natalie Lorson. A lot of the females, I think I'm really interested in talking to or having a conversation with. But, you know, also like Terry Vassar would be amazing because he's at Guerlain. So I don't know, there's a huge list. Anyway, let's move on. Let's see, what's your spray routine placement? Does it differ by occasion? I would say it doesn't differ too much. It's just by occasion, just how much I apply. But I do not spray this area at all. I avoid that. I spray my shoulders. I spray my, you know, inner elbows there. I spray my wrists. Sometimes I just spray up and down my whole arms, like both my arms, depending on like how strong I want it to be. I also spray like down here where my diaphragm is. That seemed bad, but I spray where my diaphragm is, and I spray behind my knees. Sometimes I spray my ankles. Sometimes I spray other places too. So I guess it's kind of all over the place, but I always spray like from my shoulders to my wrists, you know, in differing amounts. Sometimes I spray like kind of behind my neck too, but not that often because of my hair. Like it's long, longish, long enough to cover my neck. So I hope that answers your question. Let's see, next. Best discovery set to explore with a significant other. Well, let me give you 3 options. So like more affordable one, I would say is the Mason Margiela replica one, because I feel like that has something for, you know, anyone, like it doesn't matter what your gender is. So that might be a good one with a significant other. I also think they kind of have something for everyone. Mid-range, maybe Teo Cabanel. I tried that one not too long ago. And I only really loved 2 of the 14 or so, but there were a lot in there. Again, I think there's something for everyone. And then on the high end, Le Indemnidable. I just mentioned Vanilla Van, but that discovery set is the best discovery set I've smelled recently in terms of like how much I liked out of it. And again, I feel like there's something for everyone in there. All right, next, Sarah says, what are the top 3 fragrances I wish weren't discontinued? Well, I've heard rumor that Gourmand Coquine is discontinued, and if that is, I'm gonna throw a table. That should not be discontinued. I need it, I want it, and I'm tempted to buy a backup bottle, even though that's not a thing I do, because I love that fragrance. Also, probably a lot of the Alien flankers, especially the liqueur one. Yeah, I want that, and I haven't been able to find it yet. And I don't know. Maybe just bring back some of the older formulations of certain things from like the 80s and 90s that I, you know, have like nostalgic ties to, but I can't give you a specific one for that. Next, Claire says, and she used to watch my other channel, she said, do you miss the world of Project Panning, moving towards consumption minimalism, or are you glad you embraced fragrance maximalism with no regrets? I would say I'm happy with the way things are currently. I do probably buy too many fragrances, and I'm trying to slow down a little bit, and I'm definitely getting a lot better about sampling first. But I think the main goal of my previous channel was accomplished in that I was able to pay off all my student loans. I paid off like $45,000 in a year and a half or something like that, or maybe even less than that. I can't remember exactly how much it was and how long it took me, but I cleared that debt, which is fantastic. And that was kind of the main goal. Also to kind of pare things down. And I would say in general, everything else is still fairly minimal except for fragrances. Like my makeup collection is still pretty small. Clothing is about what it was before. I haven't added too much. So yeah, I would say I'm pretty happy because I'm not overwhelmed with anything. And that's like kind of the overwhelm and then that student debt were the 2 things I really wanted to tackle, and I did so. All right, next, Camille says, what's your favorite sport or way to exercise? My favorite sport is volleyball. I played in college, which was great. And in terms of exercise nowadays, well, I would love to play volleyball, but it's really difficult just given the circumstances that I have currently. But I love weightlifting and the elliptical. So I don't really care for running a lot because I have some like old injuries and things that make it a little painful over time. But the elliptical is great. I love the elliptical and I love weightlifting. Camille also asked about a story regarding fragrance at the gym. And I would say that mostly I have unpleasant experiences with other people wearing really strong fragrances that like choke me out. Like maybe they're overly sweet or they're just too like loud and obnoxious for the gym. And so I try to be like, you know, really sort of cognizant of what I wear to the gym to not do that to other people. So I mostly wear really light, fresh things, maybe a lot of citruses. But yeah, that's kind of the main thing is I associate is like people wearing way too much fragrance, like really heavy, not gym appropriate stuff. She also asked how I organize my fragrances and how I organize my wish list. Fragrantica. Fragrantica is fantastic for that. At first I didn't like the new way they set it up, but now I love it. I organize things by house. I have a little place for wish list. I have like a little to try list. I have other lists for decants. It's fantastic. So definitely that. I also use Google Sheets to kind of track stuff too. Next it says, what's a fragrance that you might not like that much anymore or wear anymore, but you have a soft spot in your heart? Probably Tommy Girl. I feel like I wore that a lot in middle school. And maybe Ralph from Ralph Lauren. I don't really care for either of those anymore. And you know what, like CK1, I still like, but I don't wear it. So all of those like 90s fragrances that I just, well, I think Ralph came out a little later. Anyway, those fragrances I wore like middle school into high school, like just wore a ton of those, I would say. And let's see, the last one she asked is this my only collection or do I have other collections or hobbies that I'm really into? I would say that this is the only like large collection. I do have a small collection of handbags. I like bags, shoes, jackets, and dresses a lot. So I have more of those than other things. I wear dresses a lot. And then I would say, I don't really have any other collections, but in terms of other hobbies, I guess like I like sports and exercise and fitness. I'm trying to get back into that more now, but I always have enjoyed that. And I don't know, I like organizing, which sounds weird, but I like organizing and I like decorating the house or like doing little remodels, things like that. So I would say those are my hobbies. And traveling, of course, and cooking, duh, I went to culinary school. So also cooking and wine. I do have a collection of wine. All right, well, I answered that really poorly, but I hope that answered your question. All right, Chelsea asked, what's my favorite Kilian scent, or is it overhyped, like Kilian in general? I think Kilian, you need to sample first. I think that there are some amazing fragrances, and I think that there are some less than amazing fragrances. My favorite Kilian fragrance is a tie probably between Back to Black and Angel Share. I would say Back to Black is like long-term, but I've definitely had a pretty serious affair with Angel Share in the last several months. Also, I really like Apple Brandy is another one that's really, I don't own, but it's really high on my list. So those. Karen says, what type of teaching do you do and for how long? How do you like your career? And what are your YouTube plans for growth? So I teach the high school level currently. I've taught secondary school for about 7-8 years now. I've also taught at the college level. I taught undergraduate classes at the university that I went to for grad school, and I love it. I love it. I think, you know, there's a lot of parts to teaching that I don't like, but in terms of when I'm actually teaching, like when I'm actually in the room with students and teaching, love it. So that's great. In terms of YouTube growth, you know, I do videos that I enjoy filming, and then I hope people enjoy it because I want to talk about these things and I want to share that with other people and hear what they have to say. And so, you know, I guess I'm not trying to be like an influencer. I really like that there's growth and I appreciate that. But you know, if I just continue to grow steadily over time, that's fantastic. And if people continue to like my videos, that's great. So I'm not really trying to do anything more than what I enjoy. Karen asked, what fragrances do I think are underrated or underappreciated that people don't talk about on YouTube? I would say there are two designer lines, like high-end designer lines that I think don't get enough attention: the Prada Olfactories collection and the Carolina Herrera Confidentials collection. I have a feeling you're going to see more videos about those soon because they've been popping up more at discounters. So those I would say. Let's see. Oz says, your favorite fragrance house? Guerlain, for sure. I mean, they have everything. Latanya asks, how many fragrances are in my collection today? I don't know the exact number. Sorry, I don't feel like counting right now. I would say 185. Probably pretty spot on, give or take a couple. Let's see. Daisy said, do your students know about your channel? No, thank God. Or at least if they do, they haven't said a word about it. Is there a particular channel person that persuaded me to start YouTube? I would say that mostly that was Joss Jane and Claire, Smurfy Girly. Those two really kind of gave me the drive and the motivation to start my channel. How did your previous channel begin versus this one? My previous channel was goal-oriented. I was trying to reduce my spending, or I did a no-buy year. So I didn't buy anything unnecessary for 1 year. And that was hard, but it was worth it because I paid off on my student loan debt, like I mentioned previously. So that was goal oriented, whereas this is more like sharing my love of fragrance. And so, you know, kind of different objectives, I should say. Let's see here. Is there a perfume or scent in general that you like, but other people are less thrilled or find weird? And she likes to smell pine sol. I would say, I'm sure that there are. Oh, I know one. So I really like Celine Nightclubbing, and that has like that cigarette smoke kind of thing, like a sexy ashtray vibe. I would imagine that some people find it odd to want to smell like that, but I do. Let's see here. Jim asks, is there a fragrance you absolutely loved but fell out of love with? I guess, no, not really. I'm sure there are probably some if I revisited from when I was younger that would be the case, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head that I don't like, at least. I guess maybe Anna Marie, I really loved that one, and I still really like it a lot, but I don't wear it as often. Let's see here. Anna says, congrats, thank you so much. Love listening to you. That's very sweet, thank you. Who inspires you the most in your perfume journey? Obviously I have a lot of friends here who really inspire me, and there are too many to list down below. But I have a lot of really close friends in the community that I really appreciate, and they inspire me. I think some of the perfumers really inspire me. I think my family, like my mom and my dad, and kind of historically their impact on me and my preferences regarding fragrance, I think that inspires me. And so there's a lot. Let's see. How has having a YouTube channel changed or influenced your life? I'm more comfortable talking at a camera, first of all. And it takes up a decent amount of my time, but I really love it. So that's fine, because I'm the kind of person that I don't really sit still. Like I always have to be doing something. Occasionally, you know, I want to like curl up on the couch or whatever, but for the most part, I'm always doing something. And so I enjoy doing this, and it fills up some of the time that I would just find a different hobby to fill otherwise. So it has really changed my life a whole lot. Pros and cons of being a YouTuber. Pros, lots of, you know, fun interaction, making lots of friends, as I already mentioned. I love it. I think it's fun personally, but you know, we each have our own thing. Cons, yeah, I get some negative comments sometimes. Sometimes people like to call me not so nice words, or tell me how they would change my physical appearance, and that's not great. But you know what? Those are few and far between, especially I've noticed in this community. I got it more when I did my no-buy channel, but it still happens, so that's not great. And then, have you ever thought of giving it up, and why? Not really. I did stop my other channel just because I felt like its purpose had been served, but no, I have no intention to give it up. Sometimes I have to like slow down because my life gets too busy, and I just can't handle the added stress of like trying to get a video done when I don't really have time to do so. But no, not planning to stop. All right, Patrick from Scent Assault, he's hilarious, by the way. He asks, tell me your favorite worst story about bartending. I have a lot. Most of them revolve around people either soiling themselves or being naked, or both. I kind of wonder if Patrick wants the Vince Vaughn story. If so, I did... I've kissed, we'll just say kissed, Vince Vaughn at the bar, and also John Mayer, but that's a good one. So anyway, there were a lot of famous people that came into the bar that I worked at for several years. Oh God, here's a bad one. What's his name? R. Kelly. He came in, spent like $1,000, didn't tip. The worst. But most of the famous people that came in were really friendly and nice. And yeah. So I had a great time. That was a great job. What would I put into Aram's pocket? Candy. I would put candy into Aram's pocket. He could just save it for me in case I want a little sweet treat later. What's the craziest thing one of your students has ever said to you? One time a kid looked me in the eyes and said, "Can I touch your hair?" And that was the creepiest thing a kid has ever said to me. And I replied, no. And then, when is the Terra fragrance coming out? I don't know. That's not up to me. That's up to whoever decides to make a Terra fragrance, probably Mike. And you can ask him. Let's see. And Mike is, by the way, his channel is called Making Sense, and he also has a perfume like shop company. He makes perfume, essentially, and it's called Making Sense. All right, Mary Lee says, congrats, I've been watching you for years, even before you focused on fragrances. Thank you very much. And she asked, would I consider doing workshops like the basics of understanding perfumery? I would say no, because I don't feel like, I mean, I'm not an expert by any means, and I'm not comfortable. I don't know if that's the word. I don't feel like it's my place to do so. I feel like there are a lot of other people who could do a much better job than I could, who have a better understanding than I do. Like, I can tell you what I smell in things, and I've smelled a lot of things over many, many years. So I guess I have some strength there. But like in terms of actual perfumery, everything I know, I just know from reading books or watching other people or whatever. So I feel like, you know, probably not, just because I'm not an expert in that. Not that I'm really an expert in anything, but like most of what like I teach as a teacher is stuff that I've studied intensively for many years. And so I feel much more comfortable about that. And, you know, I don't feel like I'm a fraud, for example. Not that I would feel like a fraud teaching about perfume, but you get the idea. I'm going to shut up now. Next, Penelope says, I know this is a rude question. It's not rude. She's curious how much I make for my channel and if it pays for my hauls. First of all, no, it does not. I looked up what I've made so far from the channel, and I started being monetized, I think in the fall last year. And so far I've made, gosh, now I forgot already. I think it was like $1,200 total. And it tends to average to be a little bit more than $100 a month. So maybe like 130 or so. Around the holidays, it was more. But it's less than my previous channel because I did have a few videos that got like a lot of views on my last channel. And it's definitely not enough to pay for my hauls overall. But it's enough to pay for at least 1 or 2 fragrances, depending on what I buy a month, which is great. That's fantastic. And I'm not in here to try to make money, because if I were, I would put a lot more ads in my videos. You guys, somebody even mentioned it recently, how I just have an ad at the beginning. And then I think I might also have one at the end, but I don't put them in the middle. Not shading anybody who does that. Like, that's great. You do you. I don't see them because I pay for the subscription thing for YouTube. So I don't know who puts ads in what. But I would get annoyed if there are a bunch of ads in the middle, so I don't do it, even though I could make a lot more money if I did. Next, Maria asked, what are the fragrances at the top of my wish list? I would say that there is the Evanescence Iris Cedar that I really want. It's very expensive though. I don't know. That's probably the main one, but it's like really expensive, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna get it anytime soon. Let's see, Fragrance Mode asks, what are my favorite gourmand fragrances? A billion of them. I can't even, I'll do a video. I can't answer that question here. There's just so many. So I'll do a gourmand video sometime, and I will go over them because I really do like gourmands a lot. Another sort of request here, Tina asked my favorite, or my top 10 vanillas. I am going to do a vanilla video pretty soon. Margie, I love Margie. She said, congrats. I've watched you since your first channel. And I would like to know what you think about perfume addiction, because I talked about shopping addiction or compulsive buying disorder on my previous channel. I would say it's the same thing. I think that if people like really have a hard time not buying perfumes, it's probably just like compulsive shopping, and specifically like that's their thing that they like to buy. And I think it can be different for everyone, but I think it's really probably the same thing, to be quite honest. And then another question she had was my thought on oud, ambergris, civet, castoreum, and other challenging notes and accords. In general, I appreciate them, and I like them. I actually really like ambergris, but the others I like when they're balanced. Like, I like in smaller quantities. Like, oud can really like give depth and enrichment to a fragrance, and I really appreciate that. But the ones that are like really oud centric, those are a bit much for me. Same thing, civet, like I think Shalimar, like in there, it's just like, some people say it smells pissy. I don't get that. Like, I just think it smells sexy in there. I don't know. I just really like it. So I think that those sort of animalic or challenging notes, they can add something to a fragrance that's really intriguing. But like I said, I think it can be overdone. It just has to be done in the right balance. Isabel says, how do you manage your monthly perfume budget, or do you have one? I don't have a perfume budget specifically, but I do have a budget for everything, including like a category that's for spending. And so perfumes obviously go in there. And to be honest, they take up probably the biggest chunk of that. But I just keep like a spreadsheet because, you know, I'm a nerd. And I just kind of tally whenever I spend something, I tally it in, and I just have my running total. It deducts, and I can see how much I have left for spending that month. And that's how I manage it. And I don't, even though I have a lot of fragrances, to be very clear, I don't use Afterpay. I don't, have credit card debt, anything like that. After clearing my student loans, I was like, nope, don't need any more debt in any kind. I have, a mortgage and a car payment, but That's it. So that's how I do it. Jack Shelley asks if I have a fragrance that evokes a fond or sentimental memory. I would say that Anna Marie does to an extent because it reminds me of like my mid-20s, which were awesome. Although there were a lot of fragrances I wore then, but that one kind of stands out to me. Also, Emporio Armani She was one I wore a lot then, and that kind of stands out. And then ones that my mom wore, like Samsara, and also Infusion Diaries that I mentioned in another video recently. Those definitely are very fond memories for me. Angie asks if I ever feel bad about the money I spend on fragrance and do I do anything to offset it. When I have time, I decant my fragrances and sell decants to kind of amortize the cost. And so that helps. And I wouldn't say I feel bad or guilty by any means because I don't go into debt. If I went into debt, I wouldn't like that. I definitely could be saving more than I do. I still save, but I could be saving more than I do. So yeah, anyway, decanting helps. I do sell things that I'm not wearing or I no longer like, or it was just a bad blind buy. And I don't know, I just feel like, yeah, I just try to kind of balance it out like that. So it's not too much, but in general, no, I don't feel bad. What would I recommend from the Chanel Privé line for ladies? Asks Vina. Vina, I haven't sampled a whole lot, but I do really like Coromandel. I liked Sycamore, although I think maybe men might like that more. I've heard Beige is really good, and I've heard Boy's really good, but I haven't tried them. So I don't have a great recommendation besides maybe Coromandel. Let's see. JC says, what's the most amazing deal you ever got on a fragrance? I got a Creed at TJ Maxx for like $50 once on clearance, so probably that. And then what's the most you've ever spent and regret spending as much as you did? Ooh, that's a tough one. There were a few blind buys. I can't, off the top of my head, I'm not sure which was the most expensive, but there were a few blind buys that were pretty pricey that I regretted, but I was able to sell them for almost as much as I paid, so I guess that kind of was okay. And do you have any clones that you love more than the original? I actually don't, I don't have any clones at all. So I can't answer that question, sorry. Let's see, what else? Penelope asked another one here. She said, what is a fragrance that you're embarrassed that you like? There are probably a few. I do still like the Viva La Juicy ones, even though I don't wear them. I still like them, and I'm kind of embarrassed by that. Also, I'm trying to think if there's something else. Probably mostly those, because those are, yeah, those. Viva La Juicy. Let's see. Julie says, you always wear the best Mauve Rose lipstick. Thank you. What is it? I pulled it for you because I saw your question earlier. It is this one here from Too Faced. It's called Melted Matte in the shade Queen Bee. It is drying, so I don't wear it except for on the weekends, but I love it. And then right now I also have this on top of it. It's a gloss from MAC, and it's called Heart Melter. So Queen Bee and Heart Melter are the two that you notice frequently. If it's just matte, then it's just this. And if it's glossy, then I have this on top. All right, and we are near the end, just a few more. Let's see, Tara, not me, a different Tara, asks, are you ever tempted to incorporate or make a second channel celebrating or sharing your other interests? No, I think I'm just gonna focus on this one because originally the idea was that I would have the previous channel and this one, and it's just time management wise, I can't do it. What would it be if I did? Probably like home decorating or organizing, that kind of stuff I really like. Did you get the satisfaction you're seeking when making this channel? Yes, very much so. And like you said, it's like it's great to find other people who are just as passionate about this. And I've just, like I've mentioned several times now, I've made so many amazing friends that I talk to on a regular basis that really enrich my life. So yes, I enjoy talking to all of the people who watch my videos, all the people whose videos I watch. I just love it. So yes, definitely. And then what are some things that held you back and how did you overcome that, like from starting a channel? Or did you have an idea and didn't hesitate? I don't think anything really held me back, but that's because I had a channel previously. Before that, I don't know, I guess I was a little nervous to put myself out there because, as I mentioned already, people will say negative things like about you to your face, even though like they're hiding behind a screen, but they will do that. But you know, I've kind of gotten to the point where that doesn't really affect me. And I think that's just kind of in life in general. Like, you get, I don't know, at least for me, once I got to a certain age, I was like, you know what, if you don't like me, you don't like me, because not everyone will. And I'm going to focus on the people who do, and I'm going to be nice. And if you don't like me, even if I'm nice, then that's okay. You can, you know, find your way out. Anyway, okay. And then last one, Suzanne asks, do your students give you feedback about how you smell each day? No, they don't say anything. And then she said, like, what do they compliment? What did they dislike? They literally don't say anything. So I don't know if they don't smell me. I don't know if they do, and they just don't like say anything, or they feel awkward saying something. I'm not sure, but I've never had any feedback on fragrance from any student. Oh, and sorry, there is one more question, and I'm sorry if your questions come in after I film this video, but hopefully I got most of them. The last question was asked here is that, do I have a fragrance destination that I would really like to go to? Well, off the top of my head, there are a couple places I would really like to go that are, one very fragrance related, one also fragrance related in a way. And the first one would be France, of course. I would love to go and actually go to the Guerlain boutique and, you know, just see all that. I would like also to go back to London. I've been there before, but go into Harrods again and go see some of the other shops. But I'm going to say Paris, France, and then also Portugal would be really nice to go to. Yeah. So those would be the places that I really want to travel to. All right, so that probably went on a really long time. I will try to edit it down as best I can, but now it's time for the giveaway. So before I show you what I'm giving away, I will preface it with like kind of what you need to do. So the first thing that I would like you to do is, of course, be subscribed to my channel. So make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Please like this video. Also, if you have an Instagram, I would love it if you follow me on Instagram. That's down in the description box, so you can find me there if you're not already following me on Instagram. And then leave me a comment, and in your comment I want you to tell me which of the prizes you would be most excited to win, because I have more than one prize here for you. Okay, so let me go ahead and talk about the two prizes here. The first one I've geared a little bit more towards the fellas who watch my channel. You know, I think all fragrances are unisex, but I've put together a little set here that I think maybe the guys would like a little bit more. And you know, I do have a lot of gentlemen, maybe some not so much gentlemen. No, I'm just kidding. But I have a lot of guys who watch my channel. So I wanted to include, you know, something that they might really like. So first up, I have this set of 3 Jean Barbados fragrances. They're 15 mils each. And this would be really nice to help you smell like Justin or Mark from Stay Fresh Productions and Aussie Fragrance, respectively. They were a lot of John Barbados. So there's that. Also in this prize pack is this travel size of Histoires de Parfum. Which one is this? Oh my goodness, I've lost the name of it. It's $18.99. $18.99 is here. So there's that. And I have a travel spray, it's unused, of Sunday Brunch from Kieran NYC, which is a really nice tea fragrance. So those 3 things are gonna go to one lucky fella. Or I'm just gonna draw 2 names, but I've geared this towards fellas, I should say. So a lady could win this too, or you know, any gender can win this. But I've put this here in case maybe you're more interested in that. But the other prize is one that, again, could be definitely, actually, I would say is completely unisex, but maybe more women would like this one. I'm going to start with the little stuff, and then I'm going to give you the big one, because the big one might make some of you fall out of your chair, because it's really good. So I have this little set of fragrances. It's like a discovery set from the 7 Virtues. I think I sprayed each of them maybe once or twice, but that's it. So that's from Sephora. Again, very unisex. So fellas, you might want this set instead, and that's totally fine. But there's that discovery set. There is an unused Jo Malone Blackberry and Bay decant from Royalty Scents that I got, and I already have that fragrance, so I don't need. I have a travel spray that is unsprayed of Rouge Nocturne from By Terry. It came with my full-size bottle. I don't need it. I will give it away to one of you. All right, and the big prize for this set comes from Terry Mugler. It is a discontinued fragrance, and it is called Alien: The Taste of Fragrance. Now, this one I picked up a long time ago. I've been sitting on this for months to give away. When this popped up at Fragrance Buy, I bought 2. I bought one for myself and one for one of you. And this is completely unused. It's a 1 ml tester. this would, you know, easily sell for 2 to 3 times what I paid for it. So if you didn't like it, then I suppose you could sell it and make yourself a nice, like a really nice chunk of change. But I really hope somebody wins this who would really love to have it, because it's really difficult to find unless you're willing to pay an extreme amount for it. So anyway, this is basically like Alien, but with caramel added to it. It's amazing. I love it. So there's that. So definitely let me know in your comments which of those 2 prize packs you would prefer, or if you would prefer a gift card if you are international. Like I said, I will draw 2 winners, but if one of those 2 winners happens to be an international person, then I will redraw. I will buy that person a gift card, and I will redraw to pick a 3rd winner. So potentially 3 winners, but definitely at least 2. Oh, and just to be really clear, like whoever I draw first, they're gonna get what they asked for. So if the first person asked for the John Varvatos set, then they're gonna get that, and the other person is going to get the Alien set. So hopefully that makes sense, and I'm excited to be able to have at least 2, maybe 3 winners this time. But without further ado, thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to hit subscribe and like the video and leave a comment so that you can be entered. I really appreciate you all so much. I cannot thank you enough. I have had such a great experience. FragCom is amazing. You all are amazing. Thank you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.